guys, Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be very happy to have you. Thanks again to Secretary Rollins for stopping by. I want to talk about the ballroom without talking about the ballroom because I think it's related to a bunch of other things. This is, and I want to start by saying this. I'm kind of doing this. I didn't prepare. I never write out a script for my show. I kind of do an outline of the stuff I want to talk about, and this is way more freeform than maybe it should be. But just bear with me here, and let's talk about the ballroom in a different way. And I want to start with someone I know and actually very much do respect, and that is Peggy Noonan. And I know that there are people on the right these days who don't like. I have always adored Peggy Noonan, the way she writes. She's been very kind to me. I have nothing but nice things to say about Peggy Noonan. She has a piece in the Wall Street Journal today, "A Republic, but Can We Keep It?" And just bear with me on this. Donald Trump supporters are feeling satisfaction after two astonishing achievements. He's the first president this century to establish order on the southern border, and he's secured some new possibility for a Mideast settlement. These are breakthroughs, even if they don't last. But the people in the White House, with every triumph, become wilder and wilder. Their triumphalism is accelerating my now chronic unease over the situation that the strict lines of our delicately balanced republic are being washed away. Ben Franklin famously asked by a woman on the street in Philadelphia what sort of government the Constitutional Convention had wrought, is reported to have said, "A republic, if you can keep it." The reply was wry and factual, but also a warning. Republics are hard to maintain. Are we maintaining ours? Democrats worry about our democracy. Is that the area of greatest recent erosion? I doubt it. Donald Trump really won in 2016. You can trust those numbers. And he really lost in 2020, and he really won again in 2024. Your governor won, your congressman, you can pretty much trust the numbers, even factoring in the mischief in any system built by man. When shocks happen, I just want you to find 11,780 votes. The system will still hold. The state of Georgia told the president to take a hike in 2020. If you've spent much of your adult life deriding the concept of states' rights, that moment would have complicated your view. It isn't our democracy that I worry about, it's our republic. That's where we're seeing erosion. That's the thing we could lose. Quickly, obviously, broadly, a republic is a form of government in which power begins on the ground with the people and shoots, as is mediated, upward. Power doesn't come from the top down. The people choose representatives who are protective of local interests while keeping their eye on the nation's. The government of which they're part is bound by law, by a constitution that is only a document of enumerated laws, but a mean, lean machine for preserving liberty. The Constitution the founders devised was born of deep study of history, philosophy, and human nature. Their understanding of the last was deeply conservative. If men were angels, no government would be necessary, James Madison said. They aren't, so one is. Now, she ends, and I'll just skip down here and say, I started with Trump supporters and end with them. They feel joy at real and recent triumphs, but deep down are rightly anxious about the world. Artificial intelligence, nukes, everything out of control, a cultural establishment that hates you. We may have to make some readjustments or revisions in our constitutional tradition. We're in in-game time. It all gives you a feeling of nihilism, something you've never felt in your entire honestly constructive life. And it's so shocking that for a moment it leaves you giddy. And in the end, having been broken down a bit, you wind up laughing last week at a video in which the American president put on a crown in the cockpit of a jet, flies over America, and drops human waste on it. You just laugh when nothing like that ever would have made you laugh before, and in fact would have hurt your heart. 9 months in, we've got to be thinking about these things. And she mentions the tearing down of the East Wing and how upsetting it was to so many people. I have a different take. And by the way, and again, I say this with all due respect to Peggy Noonan, whose judgment I value and sense of stuff. And there are a lot of people on the right these days who drip with disdain and scorn for Peggy Noonan, and I'm not one of them. I adore her writing style and the words she helped give life to for presidents of the United States. and her sense of keen judgment on things and her willingness to speak up and say them despite them not being popular with people with whom she used to be friends. And I share some of her concerns about things moving as fast as they are and just in Trump's presidency and he's just so out of the box from what we've had before. But also, I want to say this, and she kind of gets to this, and she's not going to get credit from people who dislike her from the right for pointing these things out. But Donald Trump's been able to get done a lot of things other people said were impossible. And a lot of people said the things Donald Trump got done that couldn't get done and were impossible to do were people who they got used to a way of thinking in Washington, and it did not matter what party they were in. They thought a certain way of things, and Donald Trump came in thinking a different way about things, and they poo pooed his ability to get things done because he didn't think the way they thought. And guess what? He was able to outthink them in certain ways. He was able to get things done. But one of the ways that Donald Trump has been doing things that I think everyone should acknowledge, and I actually think is by design, and I think this is what Peggy Noonan misses, is he's taking the path of most resistance for most everything. He's taking the path of most resistance for most everything. And I actually think it's by design. And I think it is to provoke progressives. But I also think there's something else. Early on, I had a conversation with a prominent member now of the administration who advises the president, who's a friend of mine, who said one of the things he expected Donald Trump to do was to push the bounds of the office, and he was being encouraged by a number of conservative limited government types to do so for a seemingly academic reason. If you push the president to do things beyond the bounds of propriety, you can expect the Supreme Court of the United States to not just bind you, but bind your future successors in office. And so this friend of mine said that it was not a deliberate strategy on Trump's part, but it was very deliberate between those who encouraged the president, that you encourage the president to do things that you actually hope are unconstitutional, that the Supreme Court has never weighed in on before. So that when the Supreme Court does weigh in on them, not only are you bound, but it is now very easy to stop your successors in office from doing the things you were doing because there's now case law to the effect that you're not allowed to do these things. You're bound by the Constitution, and this is unconstitutional. Now, the danger is if Donald Trump decides, screw it, I'm going to do it anyway, and ignore the constitutional binding. But those around him don't think he will. They do think, however, that we have seen Democratic presidents in the past use and abuse the power of government to go after the right. So if Donald Trump uses and abuses the power of government in ways he wishes to do and aggravates so many people on the left and the Supreme Court starts handcuffing the presidency, the Supreme Court will have done what Congress failed to do, which is to restrict the powers of the president. And there are some things in which the Supreme Court, frankly, isn't restricting the power of the president. And so what this president is doing is said that have been established in Washington were stupid. And let's be honest, they are. I do think the New York Times today actually has a story on the White House ballroom, and Democrats and Republicans alike agree there needs to be a ballroom. What they all wish is that the president had built some consensus for the ballroom instead of just doing it. But also, we've seen Democratic presidents in the past just do things, and the media was perfectly fine with them just doing those things. Democrats get to, Republicans don't. So now Donald Trump is steamrolling through the norms because the Democrats did, and the press gave the Democrats a pass, and he's doing it just in a bigger, bolder way with the ballroom. And what's so funny is that the Democrats are going to use the ballroom as well, and we will get 15 years, 20 years in the future, and they will say, I can't believe this was ever controversial. So I think the president is pushing the norms to bind future presidents. I think he's pushing the norms because the Democrats have done it and gotten away with it, but I also think he's pushing the norms for something else. I think Donald Trump is pushing the norms because he wants to provoke reactions from the left. The polling in the United States shows that the Democrats are actually less popular than Donald Trump. The Democrats are not only less popular than the president, the Democrats are further removed from the center than the president. See, the Democrats think the president is this wackadoo far-right conservative. He's actually pretty populist, and he's aligned himself with a bunch of 80-20 issues. And every time the president stakes out a position, the Democrats take the 20% position. Trump takes the 80, they take the 20. Whether it's the criminals, whether it's the gangs, whether it's the illegal immigrants, you name it. And in doing that, he's provoking reactions from the left that actually alienate them even more from the American people. I think it's a strategy. I have concerns about the pardons, the crypto pardons. I do have concerns. I do have concerns about pushing the boundaries, blowing up these boats in the Caribbean without Congress. And I just, bear with me here. I have a sneaking suspicion in the back of my mind that this is going to blow up in the president's face if the Democrats take back Congress, that Pete Hegseth is actually becoming a liability, and he's changing the rules of engagement in ways that can be changed but maybe shouldn't be changed, and that Hegseth is writing checks he's not going to be able to keep for the president. It's going to get the president in trouble, not Pete Hegseth. What if it turns out these people actually aren't drug runners? Now, I know the president's base will continue to believe him and continue to deny any truth teller who proves that these people aren't drug runners. But if they're not drug runners, the president is murdering innocent people. And we should not want a president of the United States who murders innocent people claiming that they're narco-terrorists. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. So I get the concerns of the people who are alarmed at the behaviors. And I understand Republicans who feel like the Democrats get to shatter norms all the time. Why don't we? And I'm more sympathetic to the Republicans who say, Democrats get to do this. Why can't we? Because you know and I know if Barack Obama decided to tear down the east wing of the White House and build the ballroom and got corporate financing to do it, the media would declare, well, this has always been needed. The difference between Obama and Trump is that Obama would engage in listening sessions that weren't actually about listening. It was about signaling in advance what he was going to do, and he never would have cared about your opinion. Trump's just cutting out the middleman, and he's cutting out the listening step. He's not going to go through performance for the sake of doing what he wants to do because he's a businessman, and Trump wants to do what he wants to do. And he's got the power to do it, so he's going to do it. And if you don't like it, work with Congress to restrain the power of the presidency. But this is the most notable part of all of it. For all of the Democratic belly aching about this and what the president is doing repeatedly, they're not attempting to pass legislation in Congress to restrain the behaviors of the president, because at the end of the day, the Democrats are fine with the behaviors of the president, just not this particular president.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
It's 1:20 in the Coolray Carrier Traffic Center. A crash down by the airport is blocking a left lane on I-285 westbound the inner loop on the ramp to I-85 exit 61. And we're still watching the brake lights down in Morrow. Roadwork repairs on I-75 northbound past Mount Zion Boulevard has 2 right lanes blocked. This report is sponsored by Staples. Have you heard? The Staples Easy button is back with even more easy. Press it for custom prints, shipping services, even passport photos. Staples, that was easy. I'm Isabella Rodriguez, 95.5 WSB.
Get the WSB radio app.
This story is breaking right now.
Get notifications from your source for news.
If you have the WSB radio app, then you saw the breaking news.
Get the WSB radio app.
Don't miss a thing with the WSB app.
Download it from the App Store today.
This is Scott Slade, and nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier the better. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you more time for you and your loved ones to take charge of your health. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. Due to overwhelming demand for a limited time, their $995 core body scan offer has been extended. It's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual imaging has gotten such great response to this offer that they've opened up more times in both offices, but appointments will fill up fast, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Hey, contractors, builders, you guys are busy. Do you have time to hang out at the lumber hut waiting for someone in an apron to wander over and ask if they can help you? I didn't think so. You need Randall Brothers. Dave Baker here. Randall Brothers has the widest variety of quality building materials, plus they have the experts on site that understand what you want and will get you the supplies you need and on your way. And Randall Brothers provides excellent customer service. Actually has for over 140 years. Big enough to stock it all, local enough to care. See them on the web at randallbrothers.com.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix that's guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with low prices in every aisle. Kroger shoppers never compromise. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save big on select varieties of Kroger brand cheese. 6 to 8 ounce packs are only $1.79 each with your digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
You've thought about assisted living for your parents, but maybe the right answer is renovating your home and having mom or dad move in. I'm Richard, Chief Architect at Sketch House, where we create custom architectural drawings for homeowners looking to remodel. Why get drawings first? You'll know what's possible. You'll be able to get pricing and compare builders apples to apples, and builders love drawings. You'll get bumped to the top of their list with drawings in hand. Let Sketch House help you make a decision about your aging parents at a fixed price. Visit sketchhouse.com. That's sketch, HAUS.com.
There's no need to be scared of stains in your carpet when you can call Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. It's Patrick, owner of Zerorez. Zerorez cleans without the use of harsh soaps or spooky chemicals, leaving behind clean carpets safe for the entire family. For a limited time, get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $129 when you mention WSB. That's right, 3 rooms of carpet clean for $129. Easily schedule your cleaning online at ZerorezAtlanta.com. Zerorez, it's the right way to clean.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why the big wireless companies want you on an unlimited plan? It's because they need you to help cover the costs of the 20-somethings who are using a lot of data every month. Fact is, according to the latest research studies, most people 50 and up, like me, only use 12 gigs or less each month. Don't get bamboozled by big wireless. At Consumer Cellular, pick what suits your needs. Whether it's 1 gig, 5, 10, or unlimited, the point is, pay for exactly what you need and nothing more. We use the same towers as the big guys, but since we don't own and maintain them, we can pass the savings on to you. Our plans start at just $20 a month, and you'll get the best customer service in the business. I want to invite you to join the millions of people who choose something better than big wireless. Because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
On the go, take Eric's podcasts with you. Available wherever you stream your favorite podcast. Search Eric Erickson.
Hello there, welcome. Let me jump to the phones here to Jacksonville, Florida. And Mike, you're going to be up first. Welcome. How are you? Mike, you there?
I'm fine. Yes, sir. How
Good.
Are you?
What's going on? Good.
I just would, I got actually 3 things. I got to thinking about something else. But the first one is all this tariff money that the president keeps saying that they're raking in, why don't they use that to fund these people that are out of jobs right now or not being paid for their jobs even though they're working? And the second thing was, with Putin, if it were me, I would go ahead and say, hey, we're going to give some of the Tomahawks to them, to the Ukraine, and we're going to allow them to join NATO. That will bring Putin to the table in a flash, because he doesn't want them as part of NATO. And the third thing was, when I was a little guy, my mom had abdominal surgery. She was telling us this one day, and she had to go up to the L in New York, and she just had surgery, and she was trying to get the stroller up the steps, and a young man come running up, grabbed the stroller, and took it to the top of the steps, and waited there till my mom came up, and she said that young man was Donald Trump.
Huh.
Isn't that amazing? A lot of people don't know those things about him.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So Mike, let me deal with your question here, because I actually know the answer very easy to the first one. You can't use the tariff money to cover these costs because the tariff money goes into a fund that has not been allocated by Congress. The president's not allowed to spend money but for appropriation by Congress. And since the tariffs haven't been appropriated, the president can't spend them. The money doesn't come to the executive branch. It goes to the legislative branch to be decided what to do with. The Treasury holds it in escrow for the Congress to budget, and that hasn't happened, so the money can't be spent. And on the other, that would probably provoke Putin to launch nukes if NATO did that with Ukraine. Now, I got to tell you about Vision Computer. They would love to be your computer company. If you're buying a computer or you're upgrading your computer, Vision can help you with that and your managed IT services. I talk about businesses a lot. Let me talk about you if you're in the gig economy. First, they can build you a laptop or a desktop that saves you money. And if you need a computer for your work, you're an individual contractor, what have you, or you're a very small business, Vision can take care of your computer and all the computers for your company. And you have a phone number that you can call where if you ever have a problem for any reason, you don't even have a problem, you have a question, they can answer it faster than a Google search. All you have to do is call them at 404-COMPUTER, go to visioncomputers.com. You're sitting in a coffee shop somewhere working, you can't figure something out on your computer, you call the number, they can remote in while you're in the coffee shop and take care of you. Using Vision Computers means you're working with real people, not chatbots and AI. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. Call them and tell them Eric sent you. You might save some more money. 404-COMPUTE, visioncomputers.com, any one of you nationwide.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news is sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. An Atlanta man sentenced this week to 8 life sentences plus 185 years for multiple rapes back in the 1980s. During Jeffrey Brine's sentencing hearing, all 4 of the women who survived the assaults delivered victim impact statements about the attacks they say shattered their lives. Jurors found Brine guilty on many charges, including 4 counts of rape, 7 counts of kidnapping, 7 counts of aggravated assault. The cases had gone cold until 2023 when the GBI sent the rape kits to a private lab for testing. Your weather for today, sunny and 74 this afternoon. There is rain in the forecast for your weekend, though. We'll tell you which day straight ahead. The U.S. has targeted a 10th alleged drug-running boat. Correspondent Michael Wallace has the latest on that.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth posted on X the latest strike was on a boat operated by the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua in international waters in the Caribbean Sea. Hegseth says all 6 male narco-terrorists aboard were killed in what was the first nighttime strike. President Trump has warned the strikes on drug cartels may expand beyond boats.
So now they're coming in by land, and even the land is concerned because I told them that's going to be next. You know, the land is going to be next.
At least 46 people have been killed in the U.S. strikes.
At least 3 people are dead, 5 others injured in Haiti during Tropical Storm Melissa. According to the Haitian Civil Protection Agency, 2 people died in a landslide, an elderly man killed by a falling tree. Melissa expected to rapidly intensify, potentially reaching Category 4 strength by Sunday, and officials are urging residents to prepare for severe weather conditions, including power outages, dangerous seas. The National Hurricane Center in Miami issuing a warning of life-threatening and catastrophic flash flooding and landslides throughout Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And now your money. Inflation. The U.S. annual inflation rate rose to 3% in September, slightly higher than August, but below expectations, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The Consumer Price Index increased 0.3% from the previous month. The report, delayed because of the ongoing government shutdown, also showed core inflation is up 3% from last year. It's 1:32.
I want to let you in on a little secret. If you go to omahasteaks.com, click on the little hamburger, the 3 lines, and go down to their premium, you see Private Reserve, and they have Wagyu, and I tried it, and it's fantastic. The Private Reserve Wagyu ribeyes were incredible. Buttery, melt in your mouth. I've also had the Wagyu New York strips. They have incredible stuff. Not only that, they've got great stuff for tailgating season. Your hot dogs, your hamburgers, your boneless chicken breast. They even have ready-made chicken skewers to throw on the grill. All you have to do is go to omahasteaks.com right now, load up, and then at checkout, put in Eric, E-R-I-C-K, and you're going to get an extra $35 off. Minimum order required. See site for details. omahasteaks.com. Check out their fantastic Private Reserve selection, hand-cut by butchers in Omaha, Nebraska. They've been doing this since 1917. They know what they're doing. Check them out at omahasteaks.com.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
This is Jonathan Geller at D. Geller & Son Jewelers. Our fall bridal event is back. Whether you're shopping for an engagement, wedding, or celebrating an anniversary or milestone, D. Geller & Son's fall bridal event is the only place you'll have this many choices and get this much value. Up to $3,000 off when you make an appointment, or 36 months 0% APR financing. This weekend at D. Geller & Son's fall bridal event, Friday through Sunday in Kennesaw and Sandy Springs. Make an appointment at dgeller.com.
Affordable jewelry for everyone is at D. Geller & Son.
All right, live team coverage of traffic and weather, Alex Williams.
Hey, Sabrina. Found some trouble on the north side perimeter. Stall in the center lane in Sandy Springs, 285 eastbound. The inner loop at Roswell Road, exit 25. You're slowing back toward I-75. And downtown, the afternoon volume filling in southbound from the 85-400 road as you make your way past Georgia Tech. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm Channel 2 Action News Chief Meteorologist Brad Nitz. Mostly sunny, 74 today. Partly cloudy, 73 Saturday. Showers moving in late on Sunday.
We will have more news coming up at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation. There's some breaking news I need to get to. If you're on the phone lines, be patient. It is an open line Friday, 877-973-7425. This just in, it hit the wires a short time ago. President of the United States, Donald Trump, has ordered an aircraft carrier strike group to the Caribbean, a major escalation of warships in the region as the United States attacks alleged drug-running boats and increases pressure on Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Deploying a carrier is a significant move for any White House and often suggests large-scale military operations. The arrival of the USS Gerald Ford, the Navy's newest and most advanced aircraft carrier from the Mediterranean, alongside several destroyers and a submarine, will add to what is already the world's largest naval deployment. Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell announced the move on Twitter, saying the deployment will bolster U.S. capacity to detect, monitor, and disrupt illicit actors and activities that compromise the safety and prosperity of the United States homeland and our security in the Western Hemisphere. The warship will add to the 10,000 troops and dozen F-35 fighters, which the administration has sent to the region over the last several weeks. B-52 and B-1B Lancer bombers have flown close to Venezuela's coast in recent days. as warplanes and drones sunk 7 alleged drug-running boats. This is happening now. The president has ordered the USS Gerald Ford into the Caribbean, just off the coast of Venezuela in international waters. Now, let's go to the phones, 877-973-7425. Pierce, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show.
Hey, afternoon, Eric. Good to talk with you again. My question is this. We've got these swift boats, and they're on, and the Navy has them, that can chase these drug runners down. Why not do that, board them, if there's drugs, capture the the operators of the vehicle, and then blow the boat up with its cargo, sink it to the bottom, take these drug terrorists, park them at Guantanamo, and deport them back to Venezuela.
Okay. I can actually tell you the answer to that one, and it's not a made-up answer. If you arrest the people and take them to Guantanamo Bay, that's considered American territory where the American judicial system would have to be involved. And based on current operating procedure in federal law, they would get due process rights, and we would hear their story. Maybe they're not drug runners, although I suspect the intelligence is accurate on that, but they would be processed criminally. And the president intends to change the rules of engagement to treat them as terrorists. And as long as you're killing them and not giving them due process rights, there's no one to challenge the president's redesignation from drug dealers to narco terrorists and to have judicial review in the process of it. So you bring them into American territory where they can be charged with a crime or handled on American soil and under detention. Suddenly progressive judges can get involved. If you kill them in their boat, you don't have that problem. That's just the practical reality of it, whether you like it or not, whether you think it's appropriate or not. That's what's going on here. But there is something else going on as well. And it's related to moving this aircraft carrier. The president is seeking to build pressure on Maduro. The president wants regime change in Venezuela. The president is surrounded by a number of advisors who do not want the United States to be engaged in any way in regime change. They believe, in fact, that the United States has gone too far in involving itself in the world's affairs, and they believe at this moment in time that we should be winding down these sorts of regime change operations. And the president has clearly changed his mind. Marco Rubio, I suspect, has been whispering in his ear. And by bringing pressure to bear, blowing up these boats and the drug dealers on them, he's hoping that if our military doesn't have to get involved, he can bring internal pressure inside Venezuela to disrupt Venezuela and oust Nicolas Maduro. Next up, Henry, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the show. Henry?
Sorry, my phone was on mute.
That's all right.
All right, I've got a legal question for you. Can you hear me?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Okay. The legal question is the Democrats are holding our government hostage, saying they want Medicare for illegal or undocumented individuals. If we let the undocumented individuals have Medicare, does that then make them documented? Because we will have their name, their location, what hospital, what state, etc. Is this just a legal way for the Democrats to get away with something?
So no. Here's what's going on. This is the legality of it. The Democrats talk about undocumented, and it's actually not true. Most of the illegal aliens who are in the country actually are documented at the border. And in fact, the way the law works is when you've been processed at the border and released under your own recognizance pending court hearing in the United States, you're not considered undocumented. You actually are considered documented. You are considered a processed alien. You've been processed into the United States awaiting a court date to deport you. And you're allowed and entitled under American law to get services at emergency rooms, and Medicaid pays for those sorts of things. So this isn't a Democrat backdoor to try to get them to be legal. But what it can do actually is provide a paper trail for who these people are and where they are if ICE can get a hold of them, except HIPAA records are not subject to inspection by ICE. So if an illegal alien goes into a hospital for medical treatment, their medical records are protected from snooping by ICE. All it is basically is doctors are required to help people who show up at the ER. And hospitals are not going to turn anyone away who needs help. And by the way, you should not want hospitals to turn people away who needs help. It's a moral issue, too. You can say they don't need to be here, they don't belong here, they should be deported, and I agree with you. But if they are here because of the negligence of the U.S. government, they were allowed into the country and they get sick, they're going to get treated by a hospital. So the question is, who covers the bill? Because they're going to get treated. If the hospital eats the cost, well, then your hospital is going to go bankrupt and the deserving poor in the country are not going to be served by the hospital anymore. If the states take care of it, which is my preferred solution, that puts pressure on the states to stop having sanctuary cities. Unfortunately, federal law allows hospitals to cover these costs. And this is what the Democrats are fighting with the government shutdown over. With the government shutdown now, and the health care benefits, the Republicans want to make clear that states' money has to go to cover the cost of illegal immigrants in hospitals, not federal money. And the Democrats insist that federal money should go. The Republicans' argument is that, well, money's fungible. If the states are paying for illegal aliens, the federal government can pay for the American citizens. The Democrats want the federal government to pay for the illegal aliens and the American citizens, and the Republicans are saying no. By the way, I'm just seeing this from Jennifer Griffin of Fox News that this is the first time in her memory there will be no U.S. aircraft carrier in the Middle East CENTCOM theater, that by sending the USS Ford aircraft carrier strike group to the Caribbean, there will be no coverage, naval coverage through aircraft carriers within the Middle East region. Definitely heating up the Western Hemisphere. All right, Don, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Thank you very much, Eric. I appreciate you taking my call. Say, several months ago, I had a thought, and I didn't really think about sharing it. And but one of your callers had a question about Ukraine. Anyway, the thought that I had, and I've let this kind of rumble around in my mind to see whether it would work or not work, would be to divide Ukraine into two countries, an East Ukraine and a West Ukraine. And with that, we would allow West Ukraine to join NATO, and that would now limit the territory that Putin could continue to take and occupy. But I really don't want to, I'm just not debating or anything. I'd just like to have you share your comments on that.
So, there's a way to divide up Ukraine into a Western and an Eastern based on the river and reservoirs there that divided, and that has actually been Putin's argument, that the eastern half of Ukraine is more Russian-oriented than the western half of Ukraine, and so he should be allowed to all of it. The problem there is that he hasn't captured all of that territory. That would logically make up an eastern Ukraine. And in fact, it is Russian propaganda and spin that the people of eastern Ukraine are more tied to the Russians. They're not. Here's what happened historically. This is what makes it difficult to do something like that. During and just after World War II, with Stalin in charge, there was a massive famine. They call it the Holodomor. And the Ukrainian breadbasket was overfarmed by the Soviets. And the Soviets took a lot of food out of Ukraine for people who were Russian proper. And a lot of Ukrainians died. The people who were to the east in Ukraine, and the eastern regions of Ukraine, Kharkiv and the like, the Russians have now captured. They had to speak Russian to be able to communicate with their Russian Soviet overlords. Contrary to what you actually hear from the Russians, there's not a lot of love in eastern Ukraine for the Russians. And so essentially what you're asking to happen is divide Ukraine into two regions, though Ukraine has been a whole region for its entire history. And then say, well, maybe let the Russians take that eastern portion of Ukraine or have a democratic vote over whether or not the Russians should go to them. Well, eastern Ukraine doesn't want to be a part of Russia any more than western Ukraine wants to be a part of Russia. They speak Russian, but they speak Russian for social, cultural reasons related to the dominance of the Soviet Union, not because they're tied to the Russians. It's a mythology that's been perpetuated by Russia social media influencers and others that eastern Ukraine is somehow super pro-Russia and sympathetic to Russia and wants to be part of Russia. It's not actually true. They had to speak Russian because they were the breadbasket and the Soviets were taking all of their wheat, and they had to be able to communicate to their Soviet taskmasters before being starved to death by Stalin. There's not a lot of love there for the Russians, either in the west or the east of Ukraine. And it's a mythology that has been propagated by the Russians that it is so. And even were it so, here's the other problem. The Russians haven't conquered all of that region. The Russians have taken some, but in the last year, they've only gained 0.1% of Ukrainian landmass in the east. Why give it to them? The Ukrainians, including the eastern Ukrainians, are fighting the Russians. And it should, I think, speak volumes to everyone that it's the eastern Ukrainians who are mounting the defense of Ukraine in the east, not the western Ukrainians. The eastern Ukrainians don't want to leave Ukraine. And again, Ukraine has been a territorial region for hundreds of years, well before even the Soviet Union. And those people really don't like the Russians. Nick, I'm going to let you go before I go to commercial break. Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great. What's going on?
I wanted to ask, I read recently where the FBI had arrested some illegal immigrants, and one of the charges that they were charged with was having a firearm. And my question is if one constitutional right does not apply for illegal immigrants, does any of them apply, or is it just the expectation of being treated decently while they are in our custody?
Oh, that's a great question. Here's the basic parameter, and I'm going to quote something you know. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. They were endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. So the way our constitutional framework works is the Declaration of Independence is the country's mission statement, and the mission statement says that all men are created equal. Not all American men, not all white men, but everybody is created equal. And the Creator gave us rights, not the government. So the way the courts have interpreted this over time is that there are certain rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that have to apply to everyone. And how is that interpreted in our framework? Due process. So if you are arrested in this country and you're an illegal alien, you are entitled to the same due process that you, Nick, and I are entitled to. However, under the laws of the United States, to buy a firearm, you've got to be a resident alien or an American citizen with permission, and you fill out the paperwork. And if you have a gun and you didn't follow the proper procedure to buy that gun, well, the Second Amendment doesn't apply because you broke the law on how you purchased it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so illegal aliens are not allowed to buy guns in any state because the states don't sell to anyone who's not a citizen or a resident alien in the country. And illegal aliens are entitled to due process rights, not because the government gives them that right, but because you and I as Americans believe, based on our founding document, that God himself gave us these rights, and the government can't deprive any person of a right that God has given him. And the way we interpret that as a nation is the due process rights. That you and I are entitled to due process. We're entitled to stand before a judge, a jury of our peers, to have a fair hearing, to have a lawyer represent us. All of those sorts of rights are given to illegal aliens, not because the government wrote a law that said to give them, but because our founders, when they wrote the Declaration of Independence, which is our country's mission statement, said those rights come from God, not the government, and it's the government's job to protect those rights for everybody. And if you disagree with that, you're disagreeing with the very foundational principle of this country. And you should question yourself if you disagree with that.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
It's 1:51 in the Coolray Carrier Traffic Center. Tension is starting to build in Sandy Springs. A crash on I-285 eastbound the inner loop of Roswell Road, exit 25, is blocking a center lane. And in Cobb County, a crash on I-20 eastbound at Riverside Parkway has blocked a left lane, slowing the ride all the way back into Lithia Springs. This report is sponsored by Staples. Have you heard? Staples Easy Button is back with even more easy. Press it for custom prints, shipping services, even passport photos. Staples, that was easy. I'm Isabella Rodriguez, 95.5 WSB.
In Atlanta, there is always something happening.
Tanker truck crashed into the median.
The Triple Team Traffic Center has you covered.
No traffic getting through in either direction.
Helping you on your commute.
Avoid the area at all costs. Take Highway 155 or Highway 4223.
Brought to you by the Coolray Lifetime Parts and Labor Warranty.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
More and more these days, people are in pain, are taking control of their health and looking beyond the traditional medicine. Hey, it's Mark here. That's why QC Kinetics is so successful. People with chronic joint pain are learning that there are other options besides steroids, meds, and surgery. Patients fighting pain are getting lasting relief using advanced cellular treatments. It's QC Kinetics regenerative medicine that can revitalize your joints using growth factors from your own body. And check it out, guys. It's a simple injection. No hospital stay. It's fast, all natural, and no downtime. I want you to call QC Kinetics and get a free consultation. Exercise your freedom to look beyond the same old solutions. Thousands of patients around the country finding a better life with QC Kinetics and their amazing regenerative treatments. Call now to get started. 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026. Appointments available on Saturdays. Lawrenceville, Sandy Springs, Marietta, Stockbridge, Decatur, and Douglasville.
Looking for your next great adventure? At Capital Investment Advisors, we know travel isn't just a vacation. It's a core pursuit that fuels happiness. In fact, research shows happy retirees pursue nearly twice as many adventure-related core pursuits as unhappy retirees. That's why we created 101 trips to take in retirement. A free guide with luxury escapes, wellness retreats, cultural immersions, and trips for the grandkids. Download your copy today at yourwealth.com/101trips.
At Shane Company, we've been engagement ring experts for almost 100 years. We have the largest selection of diamonds and gemstones in stock. You don't have to wait to compare them side by side. Find the one that speaks to you at shaneco.com or in store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Want to save 1,000 bones on your next roof? Dave Baker here for Findlay Roofing, the roof guys. Right now, save $1,000 on your roof replacement. Hurry, this treat ends on Halloween. FindlayRoofing.com.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix that's guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with low prices in every aisle. Kroger shoppers never compromise. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Right now, 16-ounce packs of Kroger brand 80% lean ground beef are on sale for only $4.99 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, if you're bringing some friends over to tailgate this fall or cook out or having the family for Thanksgiving later, do what I've just done and call Wise Guys Pro Wash. They've gotten my house and driveway, my patio spotless, even the wooden gates out back. They even cleaned the roof, and I didn't even have to be there. The crew used the top equipment in the industry in their soft wash and kept my home safe and damage-free. You call them. First-time customers mention my name, Chris Chandler, and book now to get $70 off your first wash at wiseguysprowash.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Missed part of today's show? Catch it again in full with the Eric Erickson Show 24/7 live stream. Available at ericerickson.com. Stream enabled for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here. It is an Open Line Friday, 877-973-7425. If you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, you can get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, and a whole lot more. Real quick, I know, and in fact, I got a note from one of my program directors from not near me the other day, and I try not to be annoying about it. Have a national show now. I'm on in Alaska, I'm on in Connecticut, on in California, on in New York. And we're picking up stations across the country. But I also have a vested interest in making sure communists don't take over my local power grid. So with 20 of my stations in Georgia, including me living in Georgia, I just got to say again, please remember to go vote in the Public Service Commission election here in Georgia. The communists really do want to take over. Please stop the communists. Please go vote for the incumbents. Vote for the incumbents, the Republicans in the Public Service Commission election in Georgia. It's really important to stop the communist takeover. Now, I got to tell you about Old Glory Bank. OldGloryBank.com/Eric. OldGloryBank.com/ERICK. They're my bank. They're a nationwide bank. You can use them as your bank at OldGloryBank.com/Eric. I've got a checking account and a savings account with them, no fee. You can get premium checking accounts that actually have interest. And if you are an active duty military member, you can get the fees waived for that account. So you get an interest-bearing checking account with no fee at OldGloryBank.com/Eric. Veterans, first responders, you're taking care of. Businesses, they want your business. They actually have loan officers who are willing to help you, who will come and get to know you and your business and understand your needs and your capabilities, and they want to help your business grow. They're very hands-on and very good people. They're conservatives who started the bank to protect conservatives and to support your constitutional rights as a bank. Go to OldGloryBank.com/Eric today. OldGloryBank.com/Eric. Don't forget about custodial accounts for your kids as well. And you can deposit cash even though they're an online bank. OldGloryBank.com/Eric. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply.
If it's happening on the streets of Atlanta,
Cobb County Medical Examiner's Office identifies 57 sets of cremains.
if it's happening on the roads leading to Atlanta,
Massive project at 285 and Georgia 400 has been a big improvement.
we've got it covered.
Atlanta jurors convict a former Customs and Border Protection officer.
Your 24/7 news source.
Covering the stories that impact you.
Tune in throughout the day to stay up to date.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. A question I get all the time is, how did we become the largest injury firm in the world? We have over 1,000 lawyers in all 50 states and close to 6,000 coworkers. Our call center is on duty 24/7. You can reach us at any time at forthepeople.com. But the real reason is we won a lot. When you visit our website, go to our verdicts and settlements. There you will see what our clients were offered and what they were awarded at trial. All those verdicts help us resolve many cases fairly and early. You see, nothing beats reputation. The insurance industry knows who we are. We even have insurance adjusters call us for representation because they know too. We've made it easy. On your mobile device or computer, go to forthepeople.com and we will get busy. It's that easy. Call today. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
News, weather,
Traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
It's 2 o'clock. I'm Veronica Waters. The news this hour is brought to you by Bread Beckers. WSB's top local story: bond is set for a former College Park police officer who was involved in a chase which ended with a deadly crash.
14 years. Donnie Smith was a sergeant with 14 years on the job when he engaged in an unauthorized high-speed chase on I-285 that ended with the other vehicle crashing near Riverdale Road. The two occupants were killed, and Smith allegedly left the scene without rendering aid or reporting the incident. Assistant DA Andrea Thomas says dashboard audio is telling.
Can't hear anyone talking, but at the end, after the accident, you can hear somebody laughing. What does that say about this man's character?
But the judge did grant an $80,000 bond while ordering home confinement with limited exceptions. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
71 degrees now in Midtown Atlanta. Channel 2 Action News Chief Meteorologist Brad Nitz expects highs in the mid-70s under sunny skies today. Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast is coming up. 4 women who survived a rapist's attacks in 1986 say their lives were shattered, but today they see the man convicted and sentenced for his crimes in DeKalb County. 61-year-old Jeffrey Briney sentenced to 8 life sentences plus 185 years for a pair of home invasions 7 months apart. Both times, he and other men pushed their way into an apartment, assaulted 2 women in each one, and then stole valuables. The case was cold until the GBI sent rape kits to a private lab for testing, and Briney was identified using DNA. New York Attorney General Letitia James is scheduled for trial in January after pleading not guilty to federal charges, accusing her of lying on mortgage papers to secure favorable loan terms. It's a case being pushed by President Trump. Georgia lawmakers wrap up a blue ribbon committee on medical cannabis today as they consider policy changes to the state's medical marijuana program. Potential areas include raising THC percentage, regulations for pharmacies and developers, and expanding the type of allowed products beyond oil. Dr. Greg Raduca, founded the Georgians for Responsible Marijuana Policy.
Vaping can be particularly dangerous for the consumer, but beverages, I don't see an issue if the cannabinoids are non-intoxicating.
Medical marijuana is expected to be a focus in January's legislative session. Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene airs out her frustration with the Trump administration's $40 billion bailout of Argentina. Appearing on Tucker Carlson's YouTube show, she says that is not part of the America First agenda, although she has defended her past record today on the show of supporting President Trump. It is now 2:02. Live team coverage of traffic and weather straight ahead.
So you're losing your hair and you need a simple solution that works, but you want the best. It's Mark Arum here. Modern technology, top-rated physicians. You want something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair's completely redefined hair restoration, from the experience itself to the unmatched results they produce. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair, address them all with a simple one-day treatment in a calm, relaxed environment with experienced pros. Advanced Hair has performed tens of thousands of breakthrough advanced FUE treatments, and get this, your own natural hair begins to regrow the very next day. No one else in Atlanta can offer the advanced FUE found at Advanced Hair. Fix your hair loss today, starting with your free consultation, and you'll also get $500 off if you move forward. Call 470-660-HAIR. Refine your hairline with a team that's redefined hair restoration. And don't forget to ask about that Advanced Hair Guarantee, 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
Scott Slade here to talk to you about your health, and I think it's real important to talk about what is most likely to kill you. Heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans, and the older we get, the more prevalent it is. But you can reduce your risk. Eat right, don't smoke, exercise, and be informed about what's going on in your own body. Like lots of potentially serious health problems, if you catch heart disease early, you vastly increase your chances of living a longer life. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease. Other scans, including brain and full body, are available too. Virtual imaging is locally owned and operated in Atlanta for over 15 years, so they can make you this terrific offer. A complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse with a few minimum requirements. So don't put this off. I've done it. Call Virtual Imaging today for your free heart scan. 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-7226. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
It's 2:05. Live team coverage of traffic and weather coming your way right now. First, we're going to check in with the WSB 24-hour traffic center. Good afternoon, Alex Williams.
Hey, good afternoon, Veronica. Not so good up into Woodstock, 575 northbound. Really jammed up, leaving Bells Ferry Road up to Town Lake Parkway, exit number 8. At times, they've been holding all lanes to get trouble out of the roadway, so I'd consider using Highway 5 or the express lanes with the Peach Pass as an alternate. And DOT looking for new trouble in Lithonia, I-20 westbound near Evans Mill Road. We're seeing the delays back to Turner Hill. We'll see what is cooking out there. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm Channel 2 Action News Chief Meteorologist Brad Nitz. Mostly sunny, 74 today. Saturday starts mostly sunny. Will be partly cloudy in the afternoon. Low 49, high 73 tomorrow. Cloudy with showers moving in late on Sunday, high 64.
It's 73 degrees in Forest Park, 71 in Doraville, and 74 in Midtown Atlanta at 2:06. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
Welcome. It is Eric Eric Erickson here, this Open Line Friday, 877-973-7425. Text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, so much more. If you text the word recipe, singular, not plural, recipe, to 33777, you can get the s'mores Rice Krispie treat recipe. And we'll be reviving the list here. I'll start sending out regular recipes, and in the run up to the Thanksgiving holiday season, I'll resend the guide I prepared a couple of years ago with all the recipes, how I do my turkey, breakfast for family visiting, pie recipes. And yes, it is true, I am working on a cookbook as my next project. More on that later, I suppose. Also, and this actually came up last night with some friends, I am going to do another Not Safe for Radio show. We want to be able to get the tickets going for sale for the holiday season so you can give gifts to family. It'll be in January. I will get you details quickly so that you'll be able to get those tickets, because the last time it sold out in 6 hours. And we're in a larger space. I think my assistant told me it was the Roxy, which is at the Battery where the Braves play, the TP, it's just outside the gates of the TP. So we're moving it north out of the perimeter, closer to where the main listening audience for my flagship station is. It's going to be a great time. There's a hotel there, great restaurants. More details on that. Just stay tuned. Rarely, this happens on occasion. This rarely happens. So Don needs to know. Don is on hold. Don is a caller. Rarely does it happen that my call screener tells me you really should take this phone call. Rarely do I start a segment with a phone call, but I am told reliably by my producer that Don is worth talking to. And Don, I need you to know before I hit this button and people hear your voice, that your performance will determine whether or not my call screener gets fired headed into the weekend. So you better be a good call, Don. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Thank you for taking my call, Mr. Erickson. And I was going to compliment your call screener. You already did that. He was excellent, very professional.
No, don't say nice things. We don't like to say nice things about him. It gives him a big ego.
The reason for the call, sir, is I'm ex-Coast Guard, and I just was in disagreement with your statement about half an hour ago regarding not knowing what was happening, not definitive information regarding whether or not these individuals that are being taken out were drug runners. Pete Hexas could be causing a problem for the president. Your call screener did explain a little bit more thoroughly as to where you may have been going with this, but I wanted to refute that, stating in 1981, my vessel stationed out of Red River Beach, we set a record for our size, 95-foot patrol boat, for the most seizures for our size at the time. We were also involved with the Cuban Flotilla 1980. We were the first vessel, as in the first vessel involved with that Muriel Bay fiasco, but that's a conversation for another day. We were able to determine, bobbing around in heavy seas, boats that were bringing drugs without much trouble. Not necessarily even the cigarette boats is what we called them at the time. Those are the power boats that can outrun cutters. They can outrun most vessels. Now, we've updated since then, and the Navy and the Coast Guard have boats that can keep up with them. But back then, we were using our eyes and radar. With all that's available now, technology-wise, okay, there's no doubt that proof, if we changed administrations, there is no doubt that proof that we knew exactly what these were, exactly what they were carrying, probably within ounces of the amount of weight that they were carrying and where they were coming from and where they were most likely headed to. That technology, eyes in the sky and the rest, is so far beyond what we were able to do in 1981. There's no doubt, just because we're not giving classified information to the public, that we know exactly what we're doing. So I just was a little bit taken aback. I'm a new listener to your show for the last 3 months. I'm a patrol officer. I'm driving around now as we speak. I listen to you every day. Some of the things you say, I very much agree. I love it when you go through your history. You're very knowledgeable. I just didn't agree with that particular statement. It would be no problem to prove to
I'm
anybody.
glad you
what we're
called
doing.
in and added this information. And my point was particularly on this, that based on what we're hearing from people within the Department of Defense, that they actually think that Hegseth is pushing this harder than they should. I don't disagree with you that the boats we bombed have been legitimate, but there have been concerns within the Pentagon that Hegseth is pushing them to do more than they should be doing, and that they are concerned they are inevitably going to be taking out someone who actually is innocent. Based on what Hegseth is trying to get him to do. So my concern is Hegseth becomes a liability to the president if he pushes them too hard, too fast to move quicker than they're comfortable doing. Not that they can't be pushed, but just based on the concerns that are coming from the enlisted or the enlisted and the officer rank right now that are whispering not to the New York Times or the Washington Post, but going to conservative outlets like Fox News and the Washington Times, which, by the way, I also think is notable. Remember, they're no longer in the Pentagon. So these have to be already existing sources that are comfortable going to conservative outlets that are saying the Secretary of Defense is trying to steer them to go further than they're comfortable going at the risk of killing innocent people. That if that happens, that's going to be something serious if the Democrats take back Congress. But my position remains that we should be blowing up the drug dealers and we should be treating them as enemy combatants and not as civilians who need to be prosecuted. Now,
I agree with the
Don,
last
I got to
statement.
ask you a question. I
Yes,
got to
sir.
ask you a question, and I don't want to get you in trouble. But so how many people do you pull over in a day in your patrol car?
I'm actually confined to a gated community that's a small city. So my priorities, believe it or not, are people that are here from out of state with expired tags, that type of thing. I'm almost a glorified Metro cop. Again, it's just a case where I'm actually glad with that because I'm not handling the people that are speeding, and I don't have to put myself at risk for that type of situation.
So basically, you're the guy who pulls over the New Yorkers who have stayed well past their expiration date.
Absolutely. And we put a bumper sticker saying, take I-95 north and put a Canadian under each arm.
Yes, and also stay out of the left lane, New Yorkers, if you're not going to drive fast. Listen, thank you for listening. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for that, and thank you for your insight as well. That you were able to do that in the 1980s before we had this level of intelligence now is deeply impressive. And that you were involved in the Cuban situation. That's some impressive history that in and of itself. So thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I sure hope you have a great weekend, Don. Thank you very much. Now, Charlie was right. Don was an excellent phone call, despite him saying nice things about Charlie. I want to talk to you guys for a minute. It's just a complete shift. And again, open line Friday here, but I don't want it is still my show, though. So I probably I know more freely than I should give my cell phone number to longtime listeners of the show who have interacted with a long time, or email from my private email address. And I want to talk about two instances lately. One is a listener who listens, who emails, and we've interacted a lot in the past. And I notice that of late, every email is just angry and hostile about Donald Trump. In fact, that's the only interaction now. They're just venting about Trump. And if you need to vent about Donald Trump, okay, but this relates to the person with my cell phone. And I don't know how this person got my, and I had to be the one to give my cell phone to him. I don't remember the circumstances, and I've tried to go back, and there's not even like a texting history to recall how I know this person and how I gave them my cell phone. But there is a person who text messages me, and it's never checking in on me and my family, praying for anything like that. Like, there are a lot of listeners who I give my cell phone number to over time, and they're not even talking about politics. It's what do you think of the Braves? How's your family? What's this? Or here's the sort of car for your kid. And it's just interactive chats about life, not politics. And I've learned over time that the people who are my friends never talk about politics, and the people who are friends with the guy on the radio only talk about politics. And it's a big distinguishing thing that I have had to learn in my growth as a radio show host, that there are people who actually take an interest in me, Eric Erickson, guy with a wife and 2 kids who lives in Middle Georgia. And there's a group of people who really take an interest in the radio show guy and who talks politics and radio and all of that. And I really didn't think that I would be able to make meaningful friendships with people once my career exploded, that everybody would want to be friends with the guy on the radio. And actually, I've been very surprised. Some of my dearest, best friends are people I've met since I've been on the radio. The people who I hang out with and enjoy their company a lot. But there's one guy has my cell phone number, and again, I can't remember how. I just cannot remember it. And every message has been, I miss the old Eric Erickson who would stand up and speak out against Donald Trump. It's like, dude, are you not listening to me on the radio? I get hate from him. But lately it's been, I don't think Donald Trump is leaving the White House. Building this ballroom is proof he's staying past 2028. The other day he emailed me some tweet, a screenshot of a tweet. And it was from some progressive Twitter account, like legit progressive Twitter account, like socialist somebody, literally socialist, and I think the username, about how clearly Donald Trump was building this ballroom because he intended to blow past 2028 and he would never leave the White House. And I said, why are you sending me a socialist progressive Trump-hating account about this stuff? You would not treat it seriously if it was MAGA Bob instead of Socialist Bob, whatever they said. So why are you treating this seriously? But the guy is he's convinced that Donald Trump wants to be a dictator and not leave office after January 20th of 2029. In fact, I got an email from a listener today who's upset. So Trump's not leaving office. He's not leaving office. Donald Trump is leaving office January 20th of 2029. Steve Bannon is driving people insane, suggesting that Donald Trump is going to stick around. He's not. I see there's a Daily Beast story out about Steve Bannon and Donald Trump's secret plan to stay. I believe in the Constitution of the United States of America. I believe the Constitution works. I believe the Constitution is stronger than any one man. And what all of the people who I think, in my mind, abuse the relationship they have with me to drop on me their phobias, hysterias, and neuroses about Donald Trump, is they don't believe in the Constitution. They don't believe the nation is good enough or strong enough to withstand a man. They're disappointed he won. And like with the Democrats who are so freaked out and furious about Donald Trump winning, your alternative mattered. And if you were that committed to the fact that Donald Trump was going to be a dictator, you should have worked very hard to push Joe Biden out of office and Kamala Harris out of office and provide a better alternative. And many of these people, they didn't do that. And they don't need to be mad at Donald Trump. Be mad at the Democrats who didn't even want to have an open primary process when they all knew, now we know in hindsight, that Joe Biden had dementia. Every single one of them has now come forward and essentially admitting, oh, yeah, it was a cover-up. We knew all along. If you think that the Constitution of the United States is not powerful enough to restrain this man, that the institutions of government are not powerful enough, work to make them more powerful. But this bat poop crazy idea that Donald Trump is a dictator, he's never leaving office, January 20th, 2029 is eventually going to get here, and Trump is going to leave office on that day, if not sooner, for health or other reasons. God forbid something bad happens to him. You should pray for the president, by the way. The Bible tells you to. He's going to go away. And I wish I could just tell these people and reassure them, just calm down. You got 3 more years of this stuff. You people are already losing your hair over this. You've got 3 more years of Donald Trump, and then you're going to be rid of him. And you know what you're going to do is you're going to hate the next guy even more, because that's what always happens. You find strange new respect for Donald Trump and hate the next guy more. Life is too short to be so worked up about things that aren't going to happen, and yet you people are so convinced of them. When you get there, you're not going to breathe a sigh of relief. You're going to be too balled up with anxiety to ever find relief by that point. Just calm down. Life's too short to be that worried about something that's not going to happen.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
It's 1:21 at the Coolray Carrier Traffic Center. In Woodstock, a crash on I-575 northbound at Town Lake Parkway, exit 8, is blocking 2 left lanes. You'll want to use an express lane or Highway 5 as an alternate. And also crowded in Lithonia, a crash on I-20 westbound near Evans Mill Road is blocking 2 left lanes. You can always use Covington Highway as a fast track. This report is sponsored by Staples. Have you heard? Staples Easy Button is back with even more easy. Press it for custom prints, shipping services, even passport photos. Staples, that was easy. I'm Isabella Rodriguez, 95.5 WSB.
I'm Chris Chandler. Monday at 5 on Atlanta's Morning News. How long's the rain going to stick around in our exclusive 5-day forecast? And what Clark Howard wants you to know before you rent a car. Join us on WSB.
Hi, I'm David Nicholas, financial advisor and president of Nicholas Wealth Management. But most importantly, I'm a husband and a father. The 3 most important things in my life are faith, family, and freedom. Unfortunately, I think we're facing threats to all 3. The yahoos in Washington want to erode our wealth by inflation, regulation, and out-of-control spending. Deficits, robbed Social Security, and inflation have devalued our dollar and made raising a family nearly impossible. And frankly, I'm sick and tired of it. The federal government is 40% bigger today than it was before COVID. I think that means taxes are going higher. Don't let higher taxes devastate your retirement accounts. At Nicholas Wealth, we have CPAs and CFPs that can show you how to shelter your retirement accounts from higher taxes. Our Retire Ready tax analysis is a $1,000 value, but we'll provide it completely complimentary for callers who have saved more than $250,000 for retirement and give us a call in the next 10 minutes. The number to call is 404-890-5606. That's 404-890-5606, or you can go to nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for informational purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and the needs of any person. This is a paid advertisement.
A noisy garage door is a cry for help that often requires only simple maintenance. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello from A1 Garage Door Service. Don't wait until a simple garage door repair becomes a major problem. Call A1 Garage Door Service today.
A1 from day one.
'Tis the season. Have you gotten your flu shot? At All Care, our experienced flu specialists are dedicated to providing comprehensive and personalized care, from vaccines to testing to treatment. And you can walk right in to any of All Care's 15 Atlanta locations and access our unique combination of primary and immediate care under a single roof for flu season and beyond. Say goodbye to waiting for the doctor and say hello to All Care, a proud member of the Piedmont Clinically Integrated Network.
Fall is a busy time, and selling your home can be overwhelming. Get a guaranteed cash offer from Mark Spain Real Estate and sell your home stress-free and for the most money. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
Curb Appeal. It's not a competition. Maybe it is. When you want your home's exterior to look dazzling, trust the Plus. Painting Plus.
Hi, it's Charlie, owner of Painting Plus. See pictures of the dazzling exteriors we've crafted for your neighbors. Just go to our website and click Recent Projects.
Locally owned Painting Plus. The plus means anything and everything exteriors at the highest quality. Your complete exterior solution.
Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
For many of you, it's happening. Your hair's thinning, your crown's disappearing, and maybe hair loss has you feeling your identity is lost altogether. Well, I got good news. It's Advanced Hair's incredible yet simple one-day treatment that starts regrowing your own natural hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's Mark Aaron back with you. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have, but what about regrowing your hair permanently in specific areas? From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to their world-class physicians, it's not maybe your hair will regrow. It's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, and I've seen their results, friends. For your free consultation, $250 off, and 250 free hair grafts, call 470-660-HAIR. That's 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Taking the complicated and making it simple. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Y'all, I don't have time to take phone calls here, so just be patient with me. But I got to tell you, so my son is at school. He will be home in 45. I'll be home in about an hour. It'll take him a little while to get home. He has a new car in the driveway with a big red bow waiting on it for him. And listen, I'm not one of those Lexus season to remember people. I mean, what the hell, people? You go out and you buy your wife a super luxury vehicle. You don't have the money. You leave it in the driveway with a giant bow on it, and she comes outside and is excited as opposed to furious that you bought her a car without consulting with her on what she actually wanted. And maybe she didn't want the Lexus. Maybe she wanted the Mercedes. It's really those ads have always made me laugh. The husband's so excited. If I went out and bought my wife a Lexus that she hadn't even test driven and put a giant bow on it and made her go outside in the snow to see the car she never wanted in the driveway as if it's something, she would probably shoot me. As for my son, I know he wants this vehicle. And I gotta say, for anyone who knows the Jim Ellis folks, I bought my car from there. It's a big dealership in the Atlanta area, and in an ad for them, I just want y'all to know it was the most pleasant car buying experience I've ever had. And they delivered the car because they're about an hour and a half from where I live, and they delivered it to me today. It is in my driveway, and I've wanted nothing but to call the school and get my son out of school and make him come home, and I've resisted the urge, and I can't wait for him to see it. It's going to be a fun weekend, I hope. I'm a little scared he's going to get excited and hit the accelerator and plow his mother's car into the new car. All right, I got to tell you about Americans for Prosperity. If you go to afpvolunteer.com, you can sign up with them. They lead a grassroots operation around the country. In all 50 states, they advance common sense conservative reforms, and they'd love to have you with them. afpvolunteer.com is the website, afpvolunteer.com. And my gosh, they have advanced school choice. In fact, they were instrumental in helping Georgia get school choice passed, and Texas and Oklahoma. They have been involved in the president's tax plan and getting taxes cut. And if you just want to be really informed about public policy and conservative ideas to advance public policy, from healthcare to immigration to taxes, all you have to do is go to afpvolunteer.com and sign up. And you don't have to knock on a single door or talk to anyone. You just get informed. But if you want to get informed and talk to people and persuade people, they'll teach you the skill set to be able to do that, to put boots on the ground, to fight for freedom. afpvolunteer.com. afpvolunteer.com. Sign up with Americans for Prosperity today.
News of the day through the eyes of Eric Von Hessler.
The way you should live your life is look at the way they're doing it at D.C. and then just run.
If it's on your mind, it's on his.
Other people are getting away with it, so you should get away with it.
Eric Von Hessler, today at 3.
Well, your best day ever would have been a Tuesday. Who knows?
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News, weather,
Traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 2:30. I'm Veronica Waters. The news this half hour brought to you by FGA Roofing. WSB's top local story: an Atlanta man is sentenced this week to 8 life sentences plus 185 years for multiple rapes in the 1980s. During Jeffrey Briney's sentencing hearing, all 4 of the women who survived the assaults delivered victim impact statements. A DeKalb County jury convicted the 61-year-old of 29 counts. Bond is set at $80,000 for a former College Park police sergeant in a vehicular homicide case. Donnie Smith faces multiple felony charges after investigators say he initiated an unauthorized chase on I-285, which ended in a deadly crash and then drove away without calling for help. Today's the first full pay period without a check for 500,000 federal workers due to the government shutdown. Louisiana's governor is declaring a state of emergency to address the thousands of residents who will lose food stamp benefits if the shutdown continues into next month. Governor Jeff Landry wants to tap money from the state's Revenue Stabilization Fund in order to fill the gap. The U.S. Transportation Chief warns flight delays and disruptions will get worse starting next week. Secretary Sean Duffy says most air traffic controllers have been showing up for work so far, despite knowing they will not be paid. The Pentagon is sending an aircraft carrier to Latin America as attacks on suspected drug boats continue. The USS Gerald Ford's deployment comes as the U.S. carries out an overnight strike on a 10th alleged drug-running boat, killing all 6 people on board. WSB News Time is 10:31. Live team coverage of traffic and weather next.
2 houses, same neighborhood, nearly identical on paper, but one had an orchard sign and it sold for a lot more. So what gives? Hey, it's Eric Von Hessler. The first seller went the trad route. Agent, open houses, price drops, long size, and eventually they gave in and settled for less. The second seller, they went with Orchard. Orchard didn't just list the home, they launched it. Their local agent knew which upgrades would get attention, brought in the right team, and handled everything like a well-oiled home selling machine. Oh, and they also let the seller move first with Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program. That means no showings while living in a half-packed house, no buyers judging your choice of throw pillows, just peace, quiet, and top dollar. One got stress, the other got smart. Don't settle. Sell the smart way with Orchard. Start with a free home valuation at orchard.com. That's orchard.com.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Hi, I'm Becca, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. As an in-house designer, I can't wait for you to see our incredible selection of stylish and stackable rings. If you're shopping for your wedding bands, we have high-quality designs for every style and budget, from romantic to modern. If you're looking to add to a stack, your options are endless. Discover styles with clusters of gemstones, sleek all-metal designs, updated cigar bands, and signet rings perfect for an engraving. Because a friend knows you like options. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
2:34, live team coverage of traffic and weather starts right now with Alex Williams.
Messy Friday out there, Veronica. New travel advisory into North Cross crash 85 northbound Indian Trail Road exit 101, now blocking 3 left lanes. Use Beaufort Highway as an alternate. Still got the travel advisory in Lithonia, crash 2 left lanes 20 westbound at Evans Mill. Use Covington Highway. And a travel advisory in Woodstock, crash in 2 left lanes 575 northbound at Town Lake Parkway. Use Highway 5 for the express lanes. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm Channel 2 Action News Chief Meteorologist Brad Nitz. Mostly sunny, 74 today. Partly cloudy, 73 Saturday. Showers moving in late on Sunday.
It is now 74 degrees in Tyrone, 69 in Alpharetta, 73 in Midtown Atlanta at 2:35. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
Hello, it's Eric Erickson here. Glad to have you with me. The phone number, this open line Friday, 877-973-7425. And look, I want you to know for the record, I love you people. I really do. I just had a funny email exchange with another listener who has my cell phone number. How I've got it, but I promise not to use it except to tell you you're wrong. I enjoy all of you. And even on Open Line Fridays, I normally do not take as many phone calls as I've taken today. But last Friday, we couldn't do it because a certain call screener was killing deer. And I haven't been able to several times this week because of how I've had to do the show. And so I wanted to make it up to you guys and take your phone calls today. And we've actually pleasantly had a lot of calls. I got to tell you guys, though, we have an occasional situation where someone calls and thinks they have a worthy point, and they don't. And clearly no one has ever loved the person enough to tell them they're an idiot until they meet my call screener who loves them dearly and tells them the truth and hangs up on them. And then they just call back, and he hangs up and calls back and calls back and calls back. And the other day we had someone who went through the situation who clearly no one has ever told this person in their lives no. Until they met my call screener. They sat on hold for 2 hours. It was like 2 hours and 30 minutes. And you would, just as a rule of thumb, if you've been on hold, and by the way, Mark, I want to tell you, I'm coming to you next. You've been on hold for almost an hour, and I'm sorry, and I am coming to you. I'm not talking about you. But rule of thumb, people, if you've been on hold for an hour and a half on this program, you're probably not getting on the show. And you should probably take the hint. My call screener's job is to make me look good, not you look good. And that means we let on people like Don, the police officer, former Coast Guard guy, who can actually add value to the conversation, as opposed to you, who are an idiot who has never been taken seriously in your life, and you think you are entitled to be on a radio show. So just take that clue. If you've made it on, you've made it past my call screener, you're golden. Sometimes I can't get to every call, though. And don't take offense, because there's a lot happening. Today, actually, it's kind of a slow news day, and I am able to take a few more calls, and I feel like I should, since I haven't been able to take a lot of calls this week. A lot of program directors, by the way, would prefer me not to take any phone calls. But I like having people around the country listen. My goal's been to have a national show, and now I get calls from Connecticut and California and everywhere. I like to have them. You do need to know this breaking news item. I mentioned it before, the Wall Street Journal. This just dropped from them as well. The Pentagon is sending the USS Gerald Ford to the Caribbean, moving it out of the Mediterranean. This will be the first time that the Middle East theater has not had an aircraft carrier available. All the aircraft carriers are deployed elsewhere around the world right now. This one headed to the Caribbean. You got a submarine and an entire carrier fleet now in the Caribbean. It's a major escalation down there. This is happening today. The USS Gerald Ford is still in the Mediterranean, but is now heading to the Caribbean. Now, I'm going to take Mark's phone call, which Charlie tells me is kind of local, but worth it for the day. Mark, welcome. How are you?
Hey, Eric. How are you? Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I did read something kind of funny yesterday, and I think it's something that I think kind of should teach everybody something, and I'd never seen such an example, which was so clear. But, you know, in the downtown connector, the interstate running through downtown, because not everybody here is from Georgia, there's a project called The Stitch, which is going to build a series of parks to cover up the interstate to connect all the neighborhoods that were split when it was built. And pretty expensive project, but there was last year there was a $150 million grant from the Federal Department of Transportation to help build it. And then when the House changed, you know, when Mr. Trump was elected, the new House actually backed it out to just $6 million. So, you know, almost zeroed the whole grant out. But the city's still going forward. And when I was reading a story from CBS News Atlanta yesterday, it said that, you know, they're going forward with it, and the mayor of the city have been able to find somewhere, had put together $50 million in funding. So I'm reading that thinking, wait, we started out with $150 million, goes down to $6 million. The city finds $50 going forward. So we lose $144 million, gain $50. What was the $94 million for? I mean, when you think of fraud, waste, and abuse in federal spending, I'm looking at that saying, yeah, you know what? It really is true sometimes. I mean, what was going on? $150 million gone, replaced by $50, and the thing still gets built. That was crazy.
Okay. So, and Mark, there's a perfect tie-in for those of you listening up in Boston, of which I have a number of listeners up in Boston. If you recall the Big Dig project, and this was a national news story, it was out of Boston, but national news, where they did this mega project in Boston to reroute an elevated Interstate 93 into a tunnel that would go underground, and they were going to build a big green space on top of it. And they wound up doing most of the project. They canceled part of it, but it went on like 2 decades beyond what it was supposed to do. It went from being a $2.8 billion project to a $20 billion project. It lasted forever and forever and forever. Those of you familiar up in New England and even in Connecticut, I'm sure you guys know the Big Dig project in Boston that took forever to build, went more than 100% over cost. It was insane. Supposed to be completed in 1998, and it was not. It was well past that. It was concluded in the year 2007. They started it in 1982, for perspective. In Georgia now, there's this road called the Downtown Connector, and it's the combination of I-85 and I-75 through the middle of Atlanta, Georgia. There is a plan to essentially bridge over it and turn the above-ground area into green space that connects neighborhoods that were once divided. In fact, I've been a long advocate, a part of this project, because the Georgia state capitol is locked by this interstate. There's not a lot of space to do things, and you build a nice greenway across this part of the interstate. Suddenly you can do things on the backside of Georgia's Capitol, much like the U.S. Capitol, where you have the presidential inauguration stuff. You do it outside, you have people, you shoot fireworks, you got more space. Well, thanks to John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock voting to shut down the government is canceling some of the money that would otherwise go to Georgia's version of the Big Dig, except it's like the big bridge build. And it's not going to happen because Warnock and Ossoff, they're not going to get that money. So the local government's trying to find other money. And every dollar they find to do this thing is not going to go to something else that probably is useful. We'll see how it works out for them. That reminds me, I mentioned this the other day. So Raphael Warnock is the senator from Georgia. Gulfstream is a major player in private aviation. If I ever got a private jet, the Gulfstream's nice, but the Cessna Longitude, I actually really like. It's cheaper and it's easier to fix. It costs less to fix. I like the Cessna Longitude. Not that I'm ever going to be in a position to buy one, but Gulfstream provides jets for the federal government, and 2 jets are going to Homeland Security. And you've probably heard the way the media has covered these is that they're 2 private planes for Kristi Noem. That's not actually true. They're for the Department of Homeland Security. They're not for Kristi Noem. And they replace existing Gulfstream planes that are dated and need to be updated. They would need to be updated regardless of who the president was. But, whenever Donald Trump does something, the media implies that it's for waste, fraud, abuse, greed, graft, corruption, all that sort of stuff. Not true. They actually have a need to replace 2 existing old airplanes that are having continuous maintenance problems. They chose Gulfstream to replace the 2 jets that actually are Gulfstream jets with newer models that can fly further, use less gas, much more efficient. And it's somewhat turned into a scandal because it's Kristi Noem and it's Donald Trump, and who cares what the facts actually are. And Raphael Warnock is the senator from Georgia who released a statement condemning the purchase of the planes that are made in Savannah, Georgia, by people who are residents of Georgia that you and I would call voters. It's one of the dumbest things I think I've seen from a politician. You're going to oppose the creation of jobs in your state to own the president of the United States. It's one of the stupidest positions for a politician to take. It's like the senator from California hoping the Dodgers lose the World Series. It's that stupid. It was such a dumb thing for Warnock to have done. Now, back to the phones. John, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, Eric. How you doing?
Good.
I can attest to being hung up on Philip in mid-sentence while talking to him. So,
Charlie, not Philip.
I'm sorry?
It's Charlie, not Philip. Philip doesn't hang up with people. He never answers the phone to begin with.
He hung up on me twice one day. Anyhow, my question was, since Russia invaded Ukraine, Finland became a member of NATO. Why did Russia not fight the idea of Finland becoming a member of NATO when they're fighting so hard with Ukraine to not be a member of NATO, since Finland borders Russia?
Okay. See, this is, you guys who are calling today, John, y'all are brilliant because you're making me look really good because I actually really do know the answers to these questions. You know, I went to law school to get a career in lying, so I can pretend I know answers when I don't, but I actually do know the answer to this. So here's why Russia did not get worked up about this. Finland historically is not considered part of Russia's sphere of influence. The Finns fought the Soviets and actually had a war with the Russians and killed a lot of Russians and have never been considered part of the Soviet sphere of influence. So when Russia invaded Ukraine, Sweden, which was a neutral country, and Finland, which was a neutral country, decided to join NATO in solidarity to show they're not going to be bullied by the Russians. The Russians are concerned about Ukraine joining NATO because Ukraine has always been a part of the Russian sphere of influence. When you go back to the Tsarist Russia, Catherine the Great invaded Ukrainian territory and took over Crimea because the Turks had invaded. And the Russians actually launched a defensive campaign with the Ukrainians to push the Turks out of Ukraine, but then went further and took Crimea for Russia. That's one reason I don't actually object to the Russians keeping Crimea, because going all the way back to the Russians, Crimea has specifically been within the Russian sphere of influence, but Ukraine itself has. And the reason Ukraine has been in the sphere of influence with the Russians is, where do the Russians come from? In part, they come from Ukraine. The Kievites, I think you call them Kievites, they moved north during the fall of the Roman Empire, waiting out the barbarians. As the Huns invaded, they moved north and took with them the Orthodox faith and the church, and carried it up to a small village called Moskova, which has become Moscow, intermarried into the culture. And so the Ukrainians and the Russians have always had these ties. Now, the Ukrainians have always viewed themselves as independent of, but cousins to the Russians. So when Stalin took them over and incorporated Ukraine into the Soviet Union, there's always been this natural resentment. And the reason for the current real resentment is because Stalin killed basically all of their grandparents and starved them to death. And the Ukrainians don't want to be part of Russia. They want to be their own people. Even Catherine the Great allowed Ukraine to have its own minor sphere of influence, much like Belarusia has. The Belarusians have. And so the difference between Finland and Ukraine is that Finland has been at war with the Russians repeatedly through history. Ukraine was captured by the Soviets, has deep hostility to the Russians, but the Russians have always viewed the Ukrainians as part of their sphere of influence. Finland never was. Now, I will tell you this, something that does not get a lot of attention is that the Russians have been going into Finland in cover of darkness and sabotaging telecom lines and power plants and natural gas pipelines. And there have been almost a state of war in Finland since Finland joined NATO. And the NATO leadership has, by and large, just tried to ignore what the Russians are doing so they don't have to say the Russians have declared war. But the Russians have also been doing it in Norway and in Sweden. There have been lots of disruptions to telecom infrastructure, power infrastructure, internet infrastructure, and they know it's Russian sabotage, but no one wants to say it because then that would provoke Article 5 and you would have this cascading spillover war. And the Russians are essentially just trying to push and push and push and see what would trigger some larger fight. And I actually think it's been very wise for everyone to say, we're not going to recognize this as a hostile act. We're going to claim it's other stuff so that we don't have a massive land war in Europe with the Russians. But yes, I do know that answer. I'm glad you asked it.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
It's 2:50 in the Coolray Carrier Traffic Center. It's getting crowded in Norcross. A crash on I-85 northbound at Indian Trail Road, exit 101, is blocking 3 lanes. An option that's better for you is Buford Highway. And things are starting to move again in Woodstock. A crash on I-575 northbound at Town Lake Parkway has cleared and all lanes are open. Delays stretching back into Kennesaw will start to improve. This report is sponsored by Staples. Have you heard? The Staples Easy button is back with even more easy. Press it for custom prints, shipping services, even passport photos. Staples, that was easy. I'm Isabella Rodriguez, 95.5 WSB.
When you need to know.
This story is developing in Atlanta.
When you want to know.
Severe weather is on its way.
When you have to know.
We'll alert you as soon as this closure clears.
Get notifications
from your source for news.
Get the WSB radio app.
Download it from your app store today.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, every week on the show, we offer folks something we call the Portfolio X-Ray. I was hoping you could walk us through that process and tell us why the information it uncovers is so powerful.
Yeah, so the reason we love doing the Portfolio X-Ray for you is we do that behind the scenes. Everybody's extremely busy. Nobody wants to waste time in traffic. If you call in, we will ask you for some information via the phone. Once you've given us that information, we go to work and we put all the hours in developing the report. And I commit this to you. The Portfolio X-Ray is eye-opening. At least 90+% of the time, we can find 2 or 3 golden nuggets in there that you were not aware of that we can either change in your current portfolio mix for you. It's called a 401k optimizer. Or if we manage the assets for you, we certainly can recommend how to diversify away from some of the troubling points that are exposed during the Portfolio X-ray. Once we've got that, then we'll have you in for your initial consultation. We will present the Portfolio X-ray to you and walk you through the high points of it. And that's a document that you get to take with you. It's like getting a financial physical. So how many of you avoided going to the doctor for the annual physical last year? You do the same thing with your financial life. You ignore it. You keep pumping money into your 401k. You hope that it's going well, and I can tell you that hope is not a good investment or financial planning strategy. You need to know. So if you want to know, call us.
The Portfolio X-Ray is complimentary. Give Hoffman Financial Group a call to schedule yours today. 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code AUTO for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or any gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code AUTO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code AUTO for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Text ERIC to 33777 and get the 4 Things You Need to Know podcast. ERIC tells you the 4 things to pay attention to after the show. Also available on YouTube and your favorite podcast app.
Hello, America. It is Eric Erickson here. Let's take one last call of the day. Shane, you're it. Welcome. How are you?
I'm well, Mr. Erickson. I hope you are, sir.
I am.
It's hard to believe it's been 10 years, but I can remember in 2015 when you famously and courageously uninvited Donald Trump to a red state event. And I can remember at that time thinking, wow, this man is standing on his convictions. And, a lot has changed in your life, I'm sure, in those 10 years. but I think we can say that it puts you on a more prominent footing in terms of influence around the country. And with that in mind, I just, you can't seem to buy a criticism of Trump in terms of us, Trump voting conservatives. I think if we know anything about Donald Trump, he's in touch with his sensitivities, and I could argue he's shaped by those constructive and common sense based criticisms that come from people like you. And I think they're more important than ever. I think, if you take, for example, the groundbreaking of the White House construction zone, if nothing other than the optics, right? At a time when our country is in fact shut down, I would like to have seen that, the old punt for, hey, let's hold this off for 30 days, just for the optics of it, if nothing else. But it just, I don't know. I respect you highly. I think a lot of people do, but as conservatives, we can't all get in line with him on every single thing. I want to hear some more healthy, constructive criticisms from the administration.
Well, Shane, I'm regularly happy to criticize the administration, including earlier today on the overreach of Pete Hegseth on a number of things. But on the east wing of the White House, I think it's going to be a grotesque, gaudy monstrosity. But the president has the power to do it, and he's arranged for it to be done at no cost to the American taxpayer, so construction can begin. And I think instead of criticizing the man, I mean, we know who's contributing. They've been public with the donors, so you can see transparently who is giving money. And if they get sweetheart deals from the administration, you and I can cry foul over cronyism and bribery, but that doesn't appear to be happening. It's major American corporations funding it at no cost to the taxpayers. Even in the New York Times, the Democrats admit it's a needed project. Otherwise, the White House has to use tents and porta potties. So I'm just not that upset about this. I think just because the media wants me to be mad doesn't mean I have to be mad. I can discern what can and cannot be and what should and should not be. And this is something the president gets to do. It's his house. It's not our house. Now, we can clean the air with the Eden Pure Thunderstorm and get rid of the bad odors about it. EdenPureDeals.com is the website. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3 at EdenPureDeals.com. You get 3 of them. You save $200. You get them for less than $200. EdenPureDeal.com is the website. ERIC3 is the discount code. They're air purifiers. Where I use them, how I use them is to eliminate odors. They generate ozone, which touches odor particles, which wipes them out. So since ozone is a gas, like the gases that are odors, it can go where they originate and touch them and wipe them out, neutralize the particles, and it works. You can plug it up with a USB cord. You can plug it directly into the wall. Get 3 of them, save $200, get them for less than $200. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3, no space, at EdenPureDeals.com. You guys have a great weekend. I'll talk to you Monday.
Everyone has an opinion.
I've had some great Mondays. I'm having a good Monday right now. Look at beautiful outside.
Got that
nice loud shirt.
Eric Von Hessler has an opinion.
It's a citrusy, summery, I think breezy kind of shirt.
And some advice.
But just remember this.
Eric Von Hessler, today at 3.
I never have and never will smoke a cigar.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
Guys, I need to talk to you because do you know prostate cancer is the second leading cancer cause of death among men? And the reason it is because, guys, we ignore our health. Terrible idea. And so having a simple prostate cancer